Hey folks, David Stewart here. I've got something a little bit different for you today. We're going to be looking at these two comic books, and what we are going to be comparing is the paper that is used in each of these, because they use a different kind of paper. One uses the newer magazine style paper. The other one uses the older pulp style newsprint paper. And I think they have a little bit different effect. You can't completely see it on camera, but if we see a side-by-side of these, I think you'll see there's a pretty big difference in the type of paper that's used, and that can affect how the art works. Now, what's great about this comparison is that these books were printed within 1 month of each other. This one was from February of 1993. This one is from March of 1993. So Venom #1 is from February. Spider-Man 375 is from March. But even though this one was printed a month later, it has the newsprint on it. And this one has the newer magazine style paper. So let's take a look at these. We'll start by looking at this Amazing Spider-Man comic. I really loved this one, which is why I held on to it. Mostly because I just loved the cover. It has such a dynamic cover between Spidey and Venom. Venom looks so huge kind of looming over Spidey. And I love the foil covers of the 90s. I know that this may not be everybody's favorite thing, but I liked those kind of flashy spiderweb things that happened. I think I have a hologram one somewhere from around this time as well that I really enjoyed collecting. So let's take a look at that one. We'll open it up. Here's the other great thing about both of these. Both of these are penciled by Mark Bagley, so we don't have to compare two different artists. We're really comparing the same art printed on two different kinds of paper. This one is the newsprint. So here we have Venom holding some faces of fear. We can see the blue on Venom's costume. A lot of people think, we interpret Venom as being black because he's highlighted with blue, but blue is really the color that I think matters for a lot of this comparison, as well as these skin tones. Now, despite the fact that this is printed on newsprint, and if you look at really old newsprint comics, they definitely have a reputation for having bleeding ink and stuff. This is still really high quality, and it's really held up over the years. I've read this comic a bunch of times, and I'm actually kind of surprised what good quality it is. The paper really hasn't yellowed that much. It has yellowed a little bit, as you'd see. Like here's a bright white piece of paper, and you should be able to see that there's just a little bit of a tone difference here. This is a little more gray, slightly not yellow yet, but it is a little bit off white, as you can see, compared to the nice bright white of this loot string case or loot string envelope there. And then we will go ahead and compare it to Venom #1. Again, I like this one. This one has just a more straight kind of foil cover, but you can still see those spider webs in it. This was such a cool comic to buy back when it came out. Let's open it up and then we'll take a look in here. So right away, you should be able to see that these pages haven't yellowed nearly as much. Now, they're not a perfect white. They've both lost a little bit of this bright whiteness. And I don't actually know if they came bright white. I'm not sure if when I bought it, it was this actual fully bright white, or if it was this kind of very slightly off-white. But you can see that this one definitely has changed colors quite a bit more over the years. One of the things that we can look at here are the blues. If you notice here, the blues here are a lot more subdued because of the yellowing of the paper and also just the way the ink adheres to the paper. Here, the blue is standing like right on top of the paper. It's really bright. The colors really pop and stand out very, very strongly on this magazine style paper, almost too much. The use of colors here, it's not bad, but it's almost too bright when you start flipping through the pages and looking at various panels here. The blue on Venom really stands out, and he looks blue here. He's not black at all. He looks blue to me, and I think that's because that blue stands out so much brighter than the blue over here. If we compare the skin tones, we can see this one is a lot more mellow, and we don't have this really strong bright contrast between shading. This is a monocolor. Actually, let's compare this face. You can see there's two different tones used. This one really, the brights are really, really bright on it, and the darks are really dark. It really shows out. The other thing you'll notice is the blacks here are quite grayed out, and here they are black. They are a full black. So if you're thinking about preservation of the art, I really think the magazine pages hold up quite a bit better. I still like the aesthetic of the newsprint. The newsprint, I don't think, loses any detail for what's there, But this style of coloring, this older style of coloring with the flat colors, it does to me look better on the newsprint pages in comparison. There's a great ad for excellent. This is so early 90s for the game Genie here. And you can see, as we turn the page and maybe look at Spider-Man here, you can see you don't really lose for the detail, but the fact that these colors are just slightly more washed out, it makes this look a little bit too bright by comparison. This wall is very green, it's very yellow, and where you'd lose some of the brightness of those colors due to the use of newsprint, it's full on there. So a newer approach to color ends up probably being better if you're going to use magazine pages versus newsprint pages. But you can still have really, really great color on these old newsprint pages. You really can. So I thought I'd show that to you guys. I do think my conclusion is I like the aesthetics for the older style art, say before these magazines. I do like the newsprint a little bit better. I think it softens things a lot. I still think everything's nice and detailed. Obviously, with really old stuff with less reliable printing, you're going to have bleeding, and they're just cheaper products. This is still a really high quality book, even though it's on the newsprint. This is still a really high quality book with the magazine paper, but the bright colors are maybe just a little too bright with that old flat technique. So let me know what you guys think about these two books. Venom #1, Spider-Man 375, both drawn by Mark Bagley, at least the part we're looking at. What's kind of cool about this one is that there's actually a bunch of different stories here. Like back in the day, sometimes you get these supersized issues and you'd get a couple different stories being drawn here. Really, really good stuff. So anyway, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time. Don't forget to join my mailing list, dbspress.com/list. I will have a new book on creativity coming out in March. So thank you, and I'll see you next time.